Thank you. Well, urban arts architecture is a collaborative design practice that specializes in community building. And our work is rooted in the culture of our clients. And in BC, that generally means that it leads to wood, a wood solution. It's a long time, 20 seconds. So for the Schlattlein people, who are based in Lillooet, they built pit dwellings, which were dug into the earth, sheltering against the heat and cold. And those buildings were built of wood, locally sourced wood. So we built upon that wisdom with the Pliket Community Hall and Health Center by burying the mass of the hall into the earth to create a sustainable gathering place. The remainder of the building is built in a more traditional way on the ground. And this building is constructed of CLT and heavy timber. This is the CLT here. And this space was framed by band labor in 1 week. CLT is made by alternating 2x4s or 2x6s in alternating layers and glued together into solid panels that rival concrete in performance. It is open. Oh, sorry, wrong page. Wood was used to express other specific cultural traditions in details such as this welcome wall, which honors the nation's basket-making traditions. It's made of 12-inch wide cedar strips that are woven behind kind of dowels. Quesnel is a wood town, and for their museum and visitor center, we chose to celebrate their heritage through telling the story of wood and look to its future in the design of the building. It's an innovative timber structure that emulates the forest with tree columns supporting CLT roof panels. And this is the entry foyer in a space that's meant to invite the community in to celebrate their culture and as an entrance to the museum and the visitor center. So this is a very unique structure. So that's the Queensborough Community Centre, your neighbour in New Westminster. Their mandate was to be a hub for multiple services to the community, combining library, fitness, childcare, recreation, and police services into a synergistic whole. And we used wood so that it become a welcoming beacon to the community. It's open, airy, and easy to navigate, and we used wood to create a warm and inviting environment for the diverse, largely immigrant population. The large span timber structure is expressed, allowing large spans of glass to connect the interiors with a park context. And the building is certified LEED Gold. It was built as part of the province's Wood First program to construct public buildings out of wood, and was built really inexpensively. So wood is good.
Engineering Student Center at UBC. As you can probably tell, we love wood, and in this project, we decided that we were going to share a love of wood with the engineering students. This project was designed very collaboratively with them. We had a number of workshops in which we developed the design of the building together and really sought to make sure it was a building that would work for the students 24/7, that it would suit a wide variety of activities, from 2 students studying together to keg parties for 400 people or so. So it had to be a really kind of flexible, tough little clubhouse for the students to achieve all this. What did we do? We looked to the past and looked at some traditions such as building railway bridges and trestle bridges, and came up with a design that incorporated large floor-to-ceiling trusses. Here you can see them being installed. It basically took 3 hours to install these 3 major trusses throughout the building. It's currently under construction right now, hence the photos, but this, hopefully by September, fingers crossed, it will be open. So what the large trusses do is they allowed us to have a column-free space on the ground floor, which you can imagine when the parties get going is really necessary for 400 students or so. One of the things that we did as well was to make sure that a lot of the wood was out of reach, because this has to be tough. You know, if you imagine engineering students hanging Volkswagens, things like that, that by putting the wood up high on the roof and using NLT, which are nail lamb timbers, timber structure in this case, makes it very, very durable. I call this one the chocolate box model. This is for a First Nations community in northern BC. And in this instance, we also work very closely with very talented structural engineers. Fast and Ep were the engineers on this project. And we came up with a truss and a roof configuration for the ceiling of the major gathering space that basically was inspired by the pinwheel structure of a snowshoe. And this is really speaking to the culture of the Deludena First Nations. They're very nomadic people, and we look to use very small local saplings in the design. Moving to the Okanagan, completely different climate, sometimes the structure is concealed. In this case, we use very simple joists to create parabolic form for the roof that emphasizes high spaces where you need them in the adults library at one end of the building and in the children's library at the other end of the building. And so what this does is we can literally connect the dots with one roof being sloped like this, the other wall being sloped like that, I should say, and then you just connect the trusses in between, creating a very dynamic form in the interior while really minimizing construction costs. This is being constructed for $250 a square foot, which is unheard of for an institutional type building. And then we'll just conclude with our raising the roof, probably the most seminal work that we have done, which was, as Eric referenced in the beginning, was basically working closely with the Canadian Wood Council to really see what would it take to build higher in wood. And the rest is history. Thank you very much.